Looking at Jean Van de Velde today, you might think his life has been tragic. The French golfer is forever remembered for one of the most devastating collapses in sports history. But here's the twist. That moment of failure actually transformed him into something far more valuable than any championship could have. The story begins at the 1999 Open Championship at Carnoustie Golf Links in Scotland. This course was a monster. Narrow fairways, thick rough, deep bunkers, and the dreaded Barry Burn water hazard. The conditions were so brutal that no player finished the first round under par. The first round leader, Rod Pampling, even missed the cut after shooting an 86 on day two. It was the perfect setting for drama. Jean Van de Velde wasn't supposed to be there contending. He was ranked 152nd in the world, a journeyman golfer with just one European Tour victory, the 1993 Roma Masters, where he beat Greg Turner in a playoff. He wasn't among golf's elite, which made what happened next even more remarkable. Van de Velde had built a solid but not spectacular career. Born in Mont-de-Marsan, France, he had an excellent amateur record, winning the French Youth Championship twice and the French Native Amateur Championship in 1986. He turned professional in 1987 and joined the European Tour in 1989. While capable, he had only twice finished in the top 20 of the European Tour's Order of Merit. Against all odds, Van de Velde played brilliant golf for 3.5 rounds at Carnoustie. He held a massive 5-shot lead going into the final day. The course that was humbling the world's best players seemed to bow to this unlikely French contender. By the time he reached the 18th tee on Sunday, he still had a comfortable 3-shot advantage. All he needed was a double bogey 6 to become the first Frenchman to win a major championship since Arnaud Massy in 1907. What unfolded next would make him more famous than any victory ever could. Van de Velde made a fateful decision on that 18th tee. Instead of playing it safe with a long iron, he pulled out his driver. The aggressive choice reflected the bold, danger-seeking personality that had carried him through the week. Commentators immediately criticized the decision, but it was pure Van de Velde, swashbuckling and fearless. His drive sailed right, but got incredibly lucky, landing safely on the 17th hole and clearing the Barry Burn. If you're enjoying this incredible story of resilience, make sure to subscribe for more inspiring sports tales that show how champions are truly made. Given a second chance, most players would have laid up. Not Van de Velde. His aggressive instincts prevailed once again. He chose to go for the green with a 2-iron, one of golf's most difficult clubs to control. The ball cleared the water but crashed into the railings of a grandstand, ricocheting backward into knee-high rough. What should have been a manageable approach shot became a near-impossible lie. From that treacherous position in the thick grass, Van de Velde attempted a pitch shot to get on or near the green. His club tangled in the dense vegetation on the downswing, and the ball flew just a short distance before splashing into the most feared location on the course, the Barry Burn. The championship seemed lost in an instant. Then came the moment that would define his legacy forever. With the crowd watching in stunned disbelief, Van de Velde removed his shoes and socks, rolled up his trousers, and waded into the water. He wanted to assess whether he could play the ball from the Barry Burn, as it was resting on a sandy bed and wasn't fully submerged. Commentator Peter Allis called it pure madness and begged someone to intervene. This surreal, almost theatrical moment became the signature image of the entire tournament. The rising tide quickly covered the ball, making any shot impossible. Van de Velde took his penalty drop and was now hitting his 5th shot. He found a greenside bunker, but then displayed the mental strength that had carried him this far. He executed what many called the gutsiest of up and downs, blasting his 6th shot to within 6 feet of the hole. The final putt was crucial. After watching his championship slip away through a series of disasters and bad bounces, Van de Velde showed nerves of steel. He sank the putt for a triple bogey 7, forcing a 3-way playoff with Paul Lawrie and Justin Leonard. The playoff didn't go his way. Paul Lawrie, a Scot who had started the day 10 shots behind, had already completed the biggest final round comeback in major championship history with a magnificent 67. Van de Velde's struggles continued in the 4-hole playoff. He double bogeyed the 15th after another errant drive, while Lawrie stayed calm and focused. Lawrie sealed victory with spectacular long iron approaches to the 17th and 18th, setting up back-to-back birdies. Van de Velde managed a birdie on 17 to briefly tie, but faltered again on 18, hitting into rough and making bogey to lose by 3 strokes. But here's where the story gets beautiful. That image of Van de Velde standing barefoot in the berry burn became more iconic than the actual victory. The phrase pulling a Van de Velde entered sports language to describe catastrophic failure, yet somehow Van de Velde became more famous than Paul Lawrie, the actual champion. His story transcended golf itself, becoming a cultural touchstone about human vulnerability and public failure. Most athletes would have been crushed by such a spectacular public meltdown. Van de Velde responded with remarkable grace and dignity. He continued his professional career, playing on the PGA Tour in 2000 and 2001, and securing several runner-up finishes. His journey hit another major obstacle in 2003, when a skiing accident caused a serious knee injury that required surgery and sidelined him from competitive golf for a significant period. Rather than give up, Van de Velde made an inspiring comeback. In 2006, 13 years after his first victory, he won the Madeira Island Open. This triumph over adversity should have been celebrated as a powerful story of resilience, but it was tragically overshadowed by his more famous failure at Carnoustie. Van de Velde didn't let that defining moment consume him negatively. He served on the European Tour's Players Committee and Board, becoming a respected voice in professional golf. He transitioned smoothly into television commentary, sharing his expertise and unique perspective with fans worldwide. His insights, shaped by both triumph and failure, brought depth to his analysis. Since 2019, he has hosted the Legends Open de France, doing more to promote golf in his homeland than any other French player in history. He has also served as a UNICEF France ambassador since 2012, using his platform and recognition for meaningful charitable work that extends far beyond the golf course. The 2019 Netflix documentary series Losers featured Van de Velde's story prominently, reframing him not as an object of pity or failure, but as a doomed folk hero who responded to public defeat with remarkable dignity. The series title itself suggests that the most compelling and educational stories in sports often come from defeat rather than victory. Van de Velde embraces this perspective with wisdom that comes from hard-earned experience. He once reflected that while he felt a bit distraught for a few days after Carnoustie, he also felt very privileged to walk inside the ropes and make a living doing what he loved. His most profound observation came when he asked, "Do you remember who won the Open Championship in 1907? The answer is Arnaud Massy, the last Frenchman to win a major before Van de Velde's attempt. Few people remember that name, but everyone remembers Jean Van de Velde. This powerful insight shows how completely he owns his story and has found peace with his place in golf history. He understands that his moment of vulnerability and the subsequent aquatic excursion created something more lasting and meaningful than a trophy could have provided. In a culture obsessed with winning at all costs, Van de Velde's legacy offers something refreshingly different, a celebration of the human element in sport. His story proves that character isn't always forged in glorious victory, but often in how we navigate public failure with grace and dignity. Van de Velde didn't let the memory of the berry burn consume him or define him negatively. Instead, he used it as a platform for resilience, personal growth, and meaningful service to others. The man who was supposed to have a tragic life actually discovered something beautiful and profound. His collapse at Carnoustie wasn't the end of his story. It was the beginning of a different kind of greatness altogether. He learned the art of losing well, and in doing so, became an inspiration to anyone who has ever faced public failure or devastating disappointment. Make sure to like this video if Van de Velde's story of turning defeat into triumph inspired you, and don't forget to subscribe for more incredible tales of sports resilience. Today, Jean Van de Velde stands as living proof that our worst moments can become our greatest teachers and most powerful platforms for good. His life isn't tragic at all. It's triumphant in ways that no championship could ever be, showing us all how to transform failure into something beautiful.